Lord from London, it's Car-Boyz. That is us. That is us. I must say a big thank you to one of our subscribers who has created this fantastic page for us, which I shall be putting some point on the podcast. I believe it's a friend of yours, Simon.
Mark. Yes, his name's Mark.
Thank you, Mark. This is looking very, very cool. Although I would say very Ford focused. And I didn't say Ford Focus. I said Ford Focus. You've been listening to him too much and his obsession with the Ford motor car. Uncle Henry would be proud. Look at that. Would. We got Mark 1, Cortina, Capri, Sierra.
Escort, Sierra, yeah.
And there'll be more on the Sierra later on in the programme. In the news. You're going to get very excited about this. Yes, welcome to the programme. Yes. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in. Whatever place you're listening to the podcast, welcome. We are still corona-free. Look, no masks. No masks for the moment.
Yes.
It hasn't
I've got antivirus. It's all good.
You've got antivirus? Oh,
yes.
Really? As opposed to
on my computer.
Virus. Oh, I see. It hasn't stopped us producing yet another corking episode of the show. Give you some more headroom there. Your favourite car pod is back. Coming up on the show this week, we're going to have all the news that's fit to print in the news. We're going to be delving into your correspondence in part of the show we like to call the mail bag. And we're going to have a storming vehicle in the classic car selection. This week, we say Guten Tag to a hugely underrated car. A Bentley at Ford Mondeo prices. Yes, it's a resounding "Das ist gut" to the Volkswagen Phaeton. Believe me, you're going to want one after we tell you all about it. On a personal note, I'm still going slightly crazy from being locked down under COVID-19 curfew, but fear not, I've spent my time wisely writing this podcast, drinking a lake of scotch. I've been stockpiling my basement, and I'm deciding which of my children to eat first when the dystopian nightmare really kicks in. But I have a guiding light in the form of my co-host, who reminds me, however, bad as things get, I don't support Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. How are things this season, Simon? I believe you have a Chelsea United cast-off manager looking after your team. Although, did you do quite well at the weekend?
We done well at weekend. We won 3-0 against Leicester, but we may not make it into Europe, which is not that good.
Nobody can make it into Europe at the moment.
Which is a comforting thought.
Exactly.
Besides the beautiful game, we have a great show on the way today with some exciting international, somewhat exciting international and exotic in our Lost Highway section of the show. I have the amazing competition in store this week, which is called Wheel of Misfortune.
Ooh.
Little nod there to Nicky Campbell, who used to present that show here in England. And we'll be asking the age-old question, if objects in the rearview mirror seem closer than they are, does that mean the police car really isn't chasing me?
Probably. Just keep telling yourself that. And don't let him,
so all of that...
Don't let him kneel on your neck. Definitely don't let him do that.
So stay tuned for all of that and more. I'm Simon Sujuan, and in summertime when the weather is hot, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather is fine, you've got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive. Go out and see what you can find.
Yes.
You wouldn't get away with that these days.
Yes, Simon Sujuan there with a 1970s guide to drink driving, courtesy of Mungo Jerry. Don't you remember, Simon? What was it? Long Life Lager? That's a drinking beer, a drinking and driving beer. 3 of those, you're fine. I'm Richard Green, and Paw Patrol, they'll always be there on the double. Whenever there's a problem round Venture Bay, Ryder and his team of pups will come and save the day. Marshall, Rubble, Chase, Rocky, Zuma, Sky, yeah, they're on the way. And thankfully, contrary to popular belief, they haven't cancelled Paw Patrol yet, despite Chase being a police dog. But watch this space. I think I want them to put up a statue for Chase, the police dog. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure about statues these days.
No, he captures a lot of criminals, though, and he rarely kneels on their neck, which is a positive. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Car-Boyz.
Car-Boyz.
Now, as you know, Richard's Take is a feature on the programme. It's where I refer to myself in the third person, come across slightly as deranged. But more than this, this will be a look at the world from my very own warped perspective. And before you say, isn't the whole of the podcast like this anyway? I shall reply, why, yes, it is. And if you don't like it, why don't you bugger off and listen to Richard Hammond wax lyrical about his huge car collection on Drive Tribe? It's a great combat for insomnia. If you haven't heard it before, it's fantastic. Sends me off to sleep lovely. But I digress about Richard Hammond and his huge car collection, the bastard. My rant this week, I shall focus on the future of motion and where we're all going as owners or leasers of cars, and what sort of cars we'll be driving, and more importantly, how they will be powered. I'd like to think that there'll be amazing creations that will be able to drive, fly, and even go underwater. A bit like the real-life Jetsons, but I'm afraid we're probably about 2 more centuries away from that. Nope, the reality is, in the very near future, cars will take us from A to B on a tarmac or asphalt road, and I hate to burst people's bubble, but I almost guarantee the fuel powering those cars will come from oil and not electricity. Now, before you all go green environmental campaigners and you get on your high horse or your high electric powered bicycle, let me tell you, this is my take. So you have no choice but to listen to me. But aside from that, you have no choice but to ignore the plain, hard facts. Currently, we do not produce enough electricity in the UK, America, or anywhere else in the world to let everybody drive an electric car, even if they could afford one. For example, Germany, they drive 44 million cars, give or take. They would have to increase their electricity production by 40% to be able to let everyone drive cars powered by electricity. Meanwhile, in the UK, we drive 26 million cars. We would need to increase the electric production by a whopping 49%. In America, it's estimated the cost of switching from diesel and petrol to electric would cost a jaw-dropping, wait for it, $1.4 trillion US, which I think is the ransom Dr. Evil wanted the world leaders to pay him in the movie Austin Powers. $1.4 trillion. But aside from that, you put costs aside, difficult to do though in the current economic crisis facing the world, but put the costs aside for one moment. How are we going to produce all this electricity without burning fossil fuels like coal or gas or using nuclear power station? Okay, you say, how about renewables? Well, let's look at renewable energy sources. They make up 24% of electric production globally, which is good, but a massive 16% comes from hydroelectric dams, which we can confirm are a finite resource. So they require rivers to work. If you only have so many rivers, you can only have so many dams. So 8% of this renewable comes from sea power, wind turbines, solar panels, and other renewable sources. We are being asked to increase these renewables by 500% for them to produce enough electricity to power electric cars. It's a big ask. And what happened to nuclear fusion? Fusion, not fission. Fission is the dirty one, and I don't mean sexually. Fusion is when we produce the power of the sun from a nuclear reaction with no nuclear waste left over. Still a scientist's pipe dream, I'm afraid. Either that or they have discovered it and they're not telling us. So there are bigger environmental concerns around renewables as well. Solar panels are great, but they're only going to last 20 years. What do you do with the old ones? After all, they contain all sorts of nasty components and chemicals that will never ever, and I repeat, never, ever degrade. They don't have a half-life, unlike nuclear waste. Wind farms are great. They kill wildlife and spoil the landscape. What about the batteries that power these electric cars? We've already covered this. In the UK, if we all drove electric cars in their current state of technological development, we would fill a space the size of Wembley Stadium every single week with dead old batteries. Imagine that, every single week, the size of Wembley Stadium, which is not very green, is it? So, folks, I'm afraid you're stuck with the infernal combustion engine for quite a few more years to come, as it's still the most fuel-efficient, low-cost, and in reality, environmentally sound way to get from A to B. Let's just try and make our current cars use less petrol and give out more power. How about that? Not a crazy thought. Simon, any thoughts?
Well, they can't get rid of petrol full stop, because you
No.
think of all the classic cars that they've got. What would you do with them?
No, you
wouldn't be able to drive them ever again.
I have seen conversions. There's a big thing in California with converting VW buses not the splitters, not the classics, but certainly 70s and 80s ones into electric vehicles with turbines on the back.
Okay.
All very good, all very cool. But you cannot do it for all cars. I've already spoken to somebody that says the problem with going electric in classic cars is that by the time you finish the car, after 18 months, technology and IT has moved on so much that you have to go back and redo it again. It's like one of these things. It's like the mobile phone. You want a new one every 10 minutes because things change with this. The combustion engine hasn't really changed. And everybody seems to have forgotten about things like lean burn. Why don't we try and use petrol more efficiently? Let's try and get 200 miles to the gallon. That, to me, you've got a little engine, you've got a little power station there that moves every car along. But the way to make that better would to make it more fuel efficient, use less petrol, and the stuff that comes out the back to be slightly more healthy than it is currently. It's not very healthy having massive lithium batteries in cars that rely on rare earths, that rely on massive open cast mining to get those rare earths, batteries that only last 10 years if you're lucky. And as I've just mentioned, you'd be filling up Wembley Stadium every single week if we had this. So that's not environmentally friendly either. So people don't get the big picture. I love that sort of act locally, but think globally. And nobody's thinking globally. People are thinking about the pollution they have in their cities. And it's very much, I don't know, wherever you are listening to this in the world, if you're in a village in the Cotswolds, you're not going to be thinking about electric cars. If you're in Manhattan or maybe LA or Tokyo or Paris or London, you probably are, because pollution is such an issue here.
Yeah, as I said, I can't see it. Can't see it happening. If we can't produce enough electricity as it is anyway to meet the demand, how else can you do that for running a whole fleet of cars across the country?
I mean, the answer to this tomorrow would be if nuclear fusion, which we were promised about 20 years ago, happened, and we could produce the power of the sun like that with no waste, and then we can have electricity everywhere, and it'd be really, really cheap. But then that will probably cause problems in the Middle East. So maybe they have discovered it. Should we do the news quickly before we get taken off the air?
First off, this week in same name, new car news, the Ford Bronco is back. Not the fact that this is a Ford story and the next story will be a Ford story.
What's going on?
Ford revised its iconic SUV name with a hardcore 4x4 it has removable doors and a bottle opener fixed onto the boot. It is, of course, the Ford Bronco, which was famously driven by, if I'm not mistaken, O.J. Simpson down the highway.
Yeah, I was having a thought about this. Do you think it's too soon to release an OJ special of the Ford Bronco? Seats that wipe down. Comes with 2 sets of gloves that are 2 sizes too small.
Gloves.
Ford Bronco, the OJ version.
Has been.
In white.
Yes. It has been, though, 24 years since the previous generation was removed from the range in America, probably no doubt because of the Simpsons trial. But it will make a comeback next year as the car maker prepares to snare sales from the Jeep Wrangler and steal a march on the new Land Rover Defender, which will be landing in the US very soon. The Ford has been tailored exclusively for the US market, featuring 35-inch tyres.
Wow.
A removable roof, a detachable doors and gloves in the gloves box for the 4x4 fans who want to drive it up a canyon or down a motorway. And it even has gets a built-in beer bottle opener, which we just saw there. Drinking some kind of very orange by the looks of things in that.
I think he's drinking OJ.
Sunny delight. It has as a bottle opener in the boot,
juice.
Handy when owners use them for tailgating parties. While the UK motorists might be disappointed that the new Bronco won't be sold here, it might not be ideal vehicle for the British climates, with the stripped-down SUV looking ready-made for the wastelands of the Mad Max film rather than the wetlands of Maidstone. Ford's first two-door Bronco, it's a lovely-looking car, was produced in 1966. with production of 5 generations spanning to 1966 before it was axed from the lineup. 96 was the O.J. Simpson trial, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm saying. So I was thinking we would call it. We could. There's the old one there. The blue one is the old
Yes.
one. The new one is the orange
In orange,
one.
O.J.
We could release a special O.J. Simpson edition of the Bronco called Da Juice, white, 2-door, blood-resistant leather, comes with matching gloves. 2 sizes too small.
Mm.
Do you think? Too
Sadly
soon.
not.
Too soon. Okay.
They've revealed the lineup, which will include a 2-door and for the first time ever 4-door version, along with a more road-biased Bronco Sport, all of which are available to order now if you live in the USA. The first deliveries are earmarked for the end of this year. Prices will start from $29,995,
Wow.
which is around £24,000 in the
Yes.
UK. Customers can register their interest by leaving their card. It does look like front end reminds me. I did see one this week of.
Yes.
Have you seen the Honda E, the little electric vehicle?
Oh yeah.
It looks like that.
It does a
Looks
bit.
like a big version of that.
It reminds me of they revamped the Land Cruiser, the FJ Cruiser, which was an American-only release, and the front end looks very similar to this. I think this is the best idea Ford have had in decades. I love the Bronco. I think that is a very cool-looking car. The new one there looks I think it looks just as good. I think well done, Ford. Guys, this is an absolute no-brainer because what's been happening with this car over the last 10 years, they've been taking the old ones, ripping the frame off, putting a brand new subframe underneath, new wheels, new running gear, new suspension, brand new beefed-up engine. So it looks like a classic, but it's got all the modern stuff. Why not make some money, Ford, out of releasing that? Genius new car. Well done, chaps. Yes, that's from Ford. Meanwhile, staying away from Ford, a South African becomes super rich in American news. Elon Musk is now richer than Warren Buffett as Tesla stocks rocket 14% to an all-time high of, hang on a second, 321, wait for it, billion. And briefly he became 321 billion. And briefly he became the 10th largest US company by market value. Shares in Tesla shot up 14% and briefly made the motor company ahead of Procter & Gamble. Gains were raised during a period of volatility, and the company's share price was down more than 3% after the markets closed. So it went up, and then it went down. He was probably caught smoking Chiba on Joe Rogan again. The company is already the highest valued automaker, with its market capitalization overtaking that of former frontrunner Toyota. The latest record-setting increase came as speculation rose that Tesla's continued increase in market value, the company would soon join the S&P Standard & Poor's 500. Musk, the highly eccentric Silicon Valley tycoon who brought the world PayPal and SpaceX, saw his net worth soar past Buffett on last Friday to become the 7th richest person in the world, according to Bloomberg. EV company, the electrical vehicle creator, along with other automakers and tech companies, including Alphabet-owned Waymo and app-based Uber, are investing billions in autonomous driving. However, the industry insiders said it'll take time for this technology to get ready and public to trust autonomous vehicles. Sorry, Elon, he was fading a bit there. I think you have to be very careful when you consider this could be the future of cars. And we keep saying this, we do not produce enough electricity to meet the demand. If we all drive one of Elon Musk's cars, there is not enough electricity out there, folks, I'm afraid. So, yes, but, you know, nice to see that he's made a few more gazillion. I believe this is your one next, even though it says me on the title.
I'm going to do this one, yeah?
I think it's yours. It's definitely yours.
I know. I thought, it is Ford, but this time from the past. One of the last surviving Ford Sierra RS Cosworths from the 1980s to go under the hammer for an estimated £60,000 this month. The Ford Sierra RS Cosworth, built as a part of a pre-production run of cars in 1985, could sell for a whopping £60,000 as part of an online auction later this month. Built in 1985, it's one of just 10 right-hand drive cars which were made ahead of the Fast Ford's official production cycle, 7 of which became rally cars, and the remaining 3 being used on the road, whilst only being 1 recorded to still be in existence, having had its provenance confirmed by members of the original Ford Special Vehicle Engineering Team, the SVE team, and finished in a very rare Moonstone Blue. It is estimated to become one of the priciest examples to sell ever. The genuine UK registered car, right-hand drive, 3-door example, and showing 68,000 miles on the clock, it will be offered for sale for an estimate of £39,000 to £59,000 in an online auction between 23rd and 30th of July. Do like a Cosworth, particularly the Sierra Cosworth.
It's like a wet dream for you, this, isn't it? Look, here's the interior.
It is.
Oh, oh. That's got a tape deck as well.
Cassette player as well, yeah.
Yeah. Cassette player, tape deck, and probably there's little holders for the tapes.
You have to press them and then the tapes come out.
Tape shot out.
The little orange button.
Very, very classy.
I do worry about the classic car market. I don't know if you saw, I sent you an email a couple of weeks ago where there was a Lotus Colton for sale.
Yes.
For £150,000.
I think we might be seeing a bubble here. I can remember those going for virtually nothing in the early noughties. Though 20 years ago, you couldn't give that car away. I'm afraid this is far too overpriced. We have just been talking about a car which is available, a brand new Bronco for £24,000, all singing, all dancing, state of the art. But you want me to give you £60,000 for? It's a nice car, but it's a nice car for 1985. I mean, it's a beautiful looking car, and I would think 30,000 would be almost the top I would give this, because mechanically it's old, things are going to break on it.
68,000 miles. Although that said, it is, if I'm not mistaken, the world's most successful racing car. This
Is it really?
Cosworth. Yeah.
As a sort of sports
more
tourer.
Races, more championships. Yeah.
My stepfather had the 4x4. Which fair flew. I think he had up to 150 miles an hour allegedly, obviously in West Germany and not in England. And my dad had the GLS, which was in black. He had a black one and then a red one, and he loved them. And they were very fast cars. But I think you're right on the price there. I feel that is slightly. Hang on, I'll give you another one. There you go. Enjoy that. There you go. I'm going to say thank you once again from Mark. Yeah. And I've spent. Thank you for Mark for creating this lovely holding page for us, Car-Boyz, which I think I might be using as our thumbnail. It's very, very cool. And again, it's very Ford focused, even though there isn't a Ford focus on the front. And finally in news, I bloody well knew it, all along news. Speed cameras are being used to fleece drivers in the UK. That's according to a government watchdog, believe it or not, who have revealed that locations to mount speed cameras are being chosen in, I love it, in hunting grounds. In hunting grounds. Just think about that as a concept. The claim was made in a report by the Inspectorate of Police and Fire Services in the UK, who have revealed the findings in a new government report. Oh, sorry. Excuse me there, for the band struck up a little too early. In a new government report.
A bit premature.
Yes, like you with the Fords. Campaigners said the findings were unacceptable because cameras shouldn't be about saving lives, should be about saving lives, and nothing more. The report by Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire Rescue Services. So this isn't like moaners like me. This is the government, the people that look after this, saying, yeah, well, they're being used to increase revenue, which what many of us have been saying for years. Motorists have long suspected they were cash cows. 2.3 million speeding fines were handed out in 2018, potentially raking in £230 million. So is your local road fleecing your fellow motorists out of all their cash? Let's find out in our new top 10 countdown of the most greedy bastard speed cameras in the UK. Here we go, straight in at 10. And you know they're rich in Surrey, and this is why. On the A3 in Esher, there's a speed camera that catches almost 13,000 motorists a year and doles out nearly £1.3 million in fines. That's at number 10. Meanwhile, Land of My Fathers takes the spot at number 9. A Gatso on the M4 at Port Talbot rakes in even more. No one says, there's lovely about that. Coming into rank at number 8, from the county that brought us, William Wordsworth. No one was wandering lonely as a cloud as they passed this camera on the A66 at Kirkby Thor. It rakes in almost £1.3 million in fines each year. Meanwhile, we're going to move to number 7, and from the grim north to the soft south, taking the number 7 spot, a camera that targets the pensioners in Bournemouth on the A338 Wessex Way. Bye-bye Grandma's pension and say hello to 3 points, not half. Partridge loves this city, but we're sure he'd hate the speed traps. At number 6, a yellow monster awaits the unsuspecting motorist in Tavenham, Norwich. It squeezes almost £2 million a year out of drivers. We're halfway through the motoring services of this top 10. And by gum, there's trouble at Mill, or more precisely, the A616 in South Yorkshire. There's a Gatso on the Stockbridge bypass. Catches more than 20,000 motorists per year. As they say locally, where there's muck, there's brass. That's coming in at number 5. On the home run now as we head to the number 4 spot, Robin Hood and his merry men do not do well as this camera on the M1 in Nottinghamshire. Between junctions 26 and 25 heading south, this camera scoops up more than £2 million from the speeders. Catching a bronze medal at 3 and pushing the locals and visitors alike, we're back to the valleys once again and the North Road in Cardiff. With a bigger audience than Max Boyce in the 1970s, this camera captures more than 22,000 motorists a year. Close, but no cigar for our number 2 speed camera. You may be in the wilds of Suffolk countryside, but there's nothing pastoral about the £2.7 million that a Gatso on the A12 at Stratford St Mary harvests every year. Did you notice what I said there? Harvest. Finally, number 1 spot for the speed camera that captures more drivers than any other in the UK. It goes to the good people of my hometown, London. The A104 Lea Bridge Road in East London issues almost 40,000 tickets each year, £3.8 million in fines. No wonder Londoners are miserable. And that is your top 10 speeding cameras in the UK by money they rake in. I need to lie down after that.
Blimey.
Good, isn't it?
The one in is it Norwich? That looks evil. It's like a big giant robot.
Yes. Look at that son of a bitch. Now, far be it from me to say to you, park round the corner, go and get yourself a paintball gun and walk up to this and aim at the lens. I would never say that. That would be a terrible thing to say. Have you seen the guy, and I haven't seen him for a few years, he used to go around angle grinding down speed cameras. What an absolute hero that man was. He'd just take his portable angle grinder and angle them, grind them down. The worst thing is, every speeding ticket I got, and I've had 2,
right.
They were done not intentionally. I was a bit tired, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. I finished the night shift, and I was driving home. And I went, oh, bugger. Oops. It was properly unintentional with both of them. I was just really tired. There's nobody about, and I was doing, I think, 40 and a 30. And it went, pop.
Yeah.
And the second time was exactly the same thing somewhere else in London. What wonderful things they are. What I really hate is when they hide them. So you're going from a 50 or a 60, and you come around a corner, and there's a speed camera there, and then beyond that, it says 30. And you're like, great, I've just got zapped. You've never had one, have you?
I've never had a speeding ticket so far, touch wood.
Oh.
But that said, if I'm not mistaken, the first Gatso, this is something not to be proud of, but the first Gatso in the country was not that far away from me on the A10, Great Cambridge Road. Just down the road, probably about 5 minutes down the road.
Nice.
But yeah, unbelievable.
Sorry. Sorry.
I was going to say the one, the Lea Bridge Road one. I do know that one as well. Yeah,
I think I know that one as well because I used to live in Walthamstow, so I'm pretty sure I have driven past it numerous times. The story I remember is when they released speed cameras back in the 90s in the UK. A friend of mine's father had driven to Bristol for work, and Bristol had some of the first speed cameras in the country. By the time he got home, he didn't have a license. Because he didn't realise what he was getting popped. He kept saying this, pop. He had 6 or 7 pops. Got home, went, Sorry, you've lost your license. That is
Really?
the end of the news. Shall we have some classic car selection?
Yes, let's go for classic cars.
They're back. They are available for children's parties, bar mitzvahs, funerals. If you have a jazzy funeral, that'd be quite nice. Although we'd probably have to all socially isolate. Yes, it's time now for the classic car selection. And this week on Car-Boyz, it's where we unearth a long-forgotten classic. We put it back on its pedestal, venerate it for the diamond in the rough that it is. This week we are heading back in time to the early noughties. Remember them? Remember them when you could go out, where you didn't have to wear a mask, you didn't have to wash your hands, you could touch people. Now, there was a car company in the early noughties that produced allegedly touch people. I mean, touch people with them wanting you to touch them, not like just randomly touching them in sort of a Jimmy Savile rapey kind of way. I mean, generally, I would like to touch you, and they go, yes, you can touch me. Can't do any of that now. It's all about hand wash. Right, let's get back to what we're talking about. Yes, it was a car company that back in the early noughties produced a people's car that actually failed to produce a luxury executive vehicle, a vehicle that is about as much car as you can buy for your buck, a car that has the same platform as the Bentley and the Audi A6, and in some cases the same engine. It was produced by the men who made the Beetle. The car, of course, was the Phaeton, and the company was Volkswagen. Now, on paper, the Volkswagen Phaeton has always had everything it needed to beat the competition from Audi, BMW, Jaguar, and Mercedes. Peerless build quality is given from Volkswagen, and it's a car that shares a good deal of mechanical parts with the Bentley Continental GT, including a four-wheel drive system. In the metal, however, the Phaeton did not enjoy the same appeal. For starters, many buyers in the market were put off by the Volkswagen badge on the car's prow. Yes, that's a problem. Like it or not, premium badges counts for a lot with people. For the UK, every Phaeton came equipped with a 3.0-litre V6 turbo diesel engine that offered 245 PS and claimed fuel economy of 33.2 mpg. Whether you chose the standard version or the long wheelbase variant, the latter made the perfect vehicle, or the limousine, for captains of industry to stretch out their legs, because it had an extra 12 centimetres of rear legroom. Many of these did end up doing the airport run in Germany. But the most desired was the 6-litre W12, the same engine as the Bentley Continental GT. Introduced at the 2002 Motor Show in Geneva, the Phaeton was conceived by a guy called Ferdinand Piech, then chairman of Volkswagen Group. He wanted to create engineers to create a car that would surpass the German prestige market leaders, as I said before, Mercedes-Benz and BMW. The decision to release the Phaeton was in part response to the Mercedes' desire to compete directly with Volkswagen in the European marketplace, of course, with the release, if you remember it, the very small A-Class series. It's also intended to support the Volkswagen brand image, although the Volkswagen Group already had a direct competitor in the full-size luxury segment with the Audi A8. The Phaeton was intended to be more of a comfort-orientated limousine like Mercedes-Benz S-Class and Lexus LS, while the Audi A8 and the BMW 7 Series bit more sports-orientated. Now, the drawbacks of owning this car. Are there any drawbacks? For a start, it's a monster. You're going to need a big driveway to park this thing. The narrow streets of Palermo or Padstow will not accommodate this car. The big drawback, though, is the cost of running this thing. If a shock absorber goes on one of the corners, you could be looking at a bill of £3,000 sterling per corner. They don't go wrong very often, thankfully, but when they do, it's a huge fix. Servicing is also going to be costly. This car shares a great deal of parts with the Audi A8, another luxury vehicle. So, should you buy one of these? It's very tempting. 2007 model, we found available online now. 74k on the clock, full service history, dark blue with cream leather, very good condition, for less, wait for it, than £5,000.
Nice.
Just be prepared to shell out big time on running the thing. If you've got deep pockets, say about £20,000, you can pick up the 6-litre monster, the W12 engine, 0 to 60 in less than 6 seconds, which is amazing for something the size of Wales. So, do you fancy a huge land yacht without the badge status? It's a sleeper car, What an amazing pedigree. Why not say, yeah, das ist gut to the VW Phaeton? Let me show you the interior, because this is a car that's almost 18 years old, but that looks very modern.
Yeah.
That's a
But the problem is,
2007.
as we said before, it's a big VW.
Yeah.
That's the problem, and it's the stomp value in other badges that people are going to go, oh, I don't really want that. But
I think what they should have done.
The same car.
It's a Bentley. It's a Bentley that's built well. Who would not want a Bentley that's built well? Me.
Yeah.
I would say what they should have done is called it the Phaeton. Had a special
sub-brand
like Hyundai are doing currently with the Genesis. It's the Phaeton. Oh, what's the Phaeton? Oh, that looks sexy. It's basically a VW. The only issue I have, the two things, the first thing I hate about this car, bloody analog clock. Why has it got above the sat nav, bloody analog clock?
Yeah, I see
For a
that.
Rover. The two things I like about this car, firstly, you see where the clock is. Next to it, there's the wooden trim. That wooden trim, when you can turn it, and it puts heat into the car, but it doesn't blow heat. It's a very specialised system that gently warms the car. And it's lovely. It's fantastic.
Like convection.
It's like a radiator.
Interesting.
The other thing I love about this car, and this is because I'm a geek, is the boot lid. Look, it looks like it's designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Yes, well, I was designing a hinge to open the Teesside Bridge across the River Tee, and I also put it on the back of this VW Phaeton.
It does. It looks like the arms on the Severn Suspension Bridge.
Yes,
that's what it is. That's what the inspiration is.
Pretty much. And it does that thing where you press and goes, and then you press and goes. My car only does it one way, doesn't do it both. I'm very, very tempted to have this one.
Do it at all.
But no, yours is a mini. There's nothing. We're going to put in the boot a baguette. Doesn't even come with a spare wheel. You fool. Yes, no, I do like it, but my fear would be, I'll be asleep in bed, and on my driveway would be the Phaeton, and then my eyes would widen, and the dark of night, I would think about the suspension strut breaking, £3,000. So
that's the thing. You would approach every speed hump with just as slow as you possibly could.
Gently now. There's a reason these things are so cheap.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then you would just go for the full whole hog 6-litre W12.
Yes.
If you're going to do it, you might as well.
I would say that's the one to go for. So that is our classic car collection. If you would like to suggest a classic car selection, we don't do Ferraris. We don't do the expensive stuff. We do the bottom end motoring. You can email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook, car-boys at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs. Twitter, car-boys at car_boys with a Z. Car-Boyz always with a Z. Instagram, at car_boys with 3 Zs. I think it's time for the Lost Highways.
Yes.
Different music this week. It's a bit psychedelic.
I've been learning something different.
There we go.
I can almost see the purple haze coming from your basement.
Yeah, I've got a purple haze here. The wife would never let me smoke inside. Now, this is the feature where listeners email in and give us their favourite roads. I don't know whether I'm doing this or you're doing this. And the reason they love them, you can continue on with the next bit.
They are, of course. That's fine. It's all good. It could be a straight 2-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal, whatever your poison is. Let us know your perfect driving road here at Car-Boyz. So you going to do the first one?
Yeah, I'll do the first one. I believe it's this one. Is this the chat? Beautiful.
It is. That's the one.
First in the Highways inbox this week, Scale Electric Sandy, 42, who writes from Milton Keynes, and I believe is of a certain age, says her favourite road is the Trans-Canada Highway between Revelstoke and Lake Louise. So, and she says... Cheese Louise. It's nothing to do with transsexuals. It's the Trans-Canada Highway, just in case you were wondering. It's not going to be... There's not many ladies here with large hands and huge Adam's apples. It's transcontinental. She says the world's longest national road, the Trans-Canada Highway, spans 4,860 miles and connects all 10 provinces from the Pacific to the Atlantic. The journey from Revelstoke in British Columbia to Lake Louise in Alberta takes 2.5 hours, depending on the road conditions. Coast to coast, the trail crosses 4 islands and passes through national parks, passes through prairies, glaciers, green forests, cattle ranches, mighty peaks. Looks like a mighty peak
Nice
there.
peaks.
Yeah. That's it. That trans highway. She's got mighty peaks. Steep and winding sections of roads that are especially matron and especially challenging during the winter. And keep your eyes peeled for bears around Lake Louise. They're not the bears that you were probably thinking if you were thinking of trans. Not those sort of bears. We mean bears. Not big fat blokes from Derby called Keith who've got a beard. And like hanging out in pubs with other bears, and I believe, is it otters? I get confused. The dazzling emerald green alpine lake in the heart of Banff National Park is Lake Louise. If you fancy a bit of adventure, she says you can go down riding in Lake Louise gondola for a cracking view. Oh, I see, of Victoria Glacier. This sounds like some sort of porno story from the 1980s in a dirty magazine. And getting stuck into grizzly bear spotting. Snowmobiling, dog sledding, not dogging, and skiing. If you're planning on staying overnight, she suggests camping at Ravelstoke's Canyon Hot Springs, hiking in Glacier Park, and visiting.
Oh, I say.
Yes, Rogers Pass National Historic Site, a replica of a historic railway snowshed where you can learn all about the triumphs and the tragedies behind building Canada's first transcontinental railway. There you go. Nothing to do with transsexuals. I don't know how we got there.
Filth.
Yes, might have to edit that. Of course we won't.
Yes. Now we're just moving on. Where the next email was sent from Eric the Viking, who says, "Hello, Car-Boyz. I love the show." He didn't have to say that. He says his favourite. He says his favourite highway is one of the most scenic road trips he's ever taken in his neighbouring Finland. So I'm assuming he's from like Sweden or somewhere like that. Yeah. The Pullmala Ridge, which also known as the Letvi scenic road on the Highway 62. The road itself is 141 kilometers that you can drive to Pullmala either via Porvoo through eastern Finland, or head first via the scenic route of Mikkeli and then to Pullmala. The road is built beside lakes and bays, and there are several beautiful bridges. Both drives will take more than 3 hours. That scenery makes up for it, especially when you get to Pullmala, where the road winds through and between little islands, as you can see in the pictures.
Lovely.
With forests. Have the camera ready, as the area is very Instagrammable, they say. Once at Pullmala, he recommends a drive through to Imatra, where there's a great old hotel beside the Vuoksi River, and of course Finland's oldest tourist attraction, which is a dam.
Really?
Yes, it is.
That's Finland's oldest.
Yeah.
And you've been to Finland. You've been to Helsinki.
I've been to Helsinki.
Nice.
Yeah. The roads very smooth, very twisty, very straight, but they also have gatsos out there as well. So you'd have to be careful.
I was going to say,
if you take your British registered car.
That's it. Yeah,
exactly.
Now I heard that there's a number of rally drivers that had to pay thousands. When you get your fine in Finland, it's not like it's £60 plus 3 points. They literally look at what your income is, and there's rally drivers that have been caught speeding on not rally courses.
Yes.
That would be fantastic. Can you imagine that? Oh, careful, there's a gatso on the fourth corner on the bend. No, that on ordinary roads, and they've found £26,000 fines because they've just looked at what their income is. That's correct.
Really? So it works by how much
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they look at what I think Mika Hakkinen
that rings a bell, actually. Yeah.
And they were like, "How's your £26,000 fine?" What? I was just going round the corner saying, "Hey," in my Subaru. So there you go. That's some driving roads. We like those two. Very cold. I think we need some tropical ones next week. You can, if you want to get your driving road onto the. We would like some tropical hot ones because we are in the summer. Email Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook Car-Boyz at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs. Twitter Car-Boyz at car_boys with a Z. Instagram at @car_boys with the tree Zs at the end. And it's now time on the show to delve into the bulging sack that's known locally as the mailbag. This week, it's overflowing.
Yes. Do, 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 do.
I love royalty-free music. I believe you're starting off with a letter.
Yes, still reminds me of Trumpton though. Sam the man in Manchester says, "Hiya, Car-Boyz. Love the show." There's another one that says, "Love the show." I'm looking for a car with a huge boot, maybe even an estate. I commute 40 miles each day for work, so I want a car that can handle that, but need a huge boot. He keeps emphasising the huge boot, as I have 3 kids. Oh, okay. He's going to put the kids in
Put
the
us in the boot. Do you know what? It's not a bad idea. I've thought about it myself.
And apparently he likes holiday in the south of France, which is a big drive. He's not a fan of huge 4x4s. He feels he has have the same room as a decent wagon or estate. His budget is £8,000 or £9,000. See, the thing with this is, and I can't remember where I'm sure I've seen it on TV before.
Yes.
Why would you go by the 4x4 route when they're about the same size as an estate vehicle, about the same engine power?
Yeah.
But none of the drawbacks, and it's a bit more incognito than
better to
having
drive,
4x4.
better MPG, cheaper tyres. Why are you taking it off road? I mean, I know there's potholes.
Probably not.
If you're not going to take it on, what's the point? The problem with this is, I love what you're saying, and I'd go for it every time. But if he had £1,000 or £2,000 to spend, there are cars that are 15 years old that are fit the bill for this. There are Volvos, there are older BMWs.
Yeah.
The problem is they don't make estate or wagons anymore. And it's becoming less and less. Even in Europe, it's smaller and smaller. So I've thought, rather than go for like full-on 4x4, he could go for sort of a slightly raised estate. The one I was thinking was the Volvo XC60. So that is not really a 4x4, but, and I've really only gone on size of boots. That's an 8-year-old one's going to cost you £8,000. It has got 1,500 litres with the seats down.
Wow.
So that is a lot of space. It's more like an estate than a 4x4 because it isn't. It's not as tall. So the handling on that is going to feel very much like an ordinary car and not. Yeah. Now, I had a Daihatsu 4-track, and that felt like a big off-roader. This thing is going to feel like an estate car. They previously did the Cross Country, was an older version of this.
They did,
even lower. My cousin's husband had one, and he loved it. The only other thing, and I know this is a 4x4, but you can come out of the 4x4 mode, is in 2015, I had a Santa Fe for about 3 months. But it didn't feel like driving a 4x4. Very easy to drive. That's got almost 2,000 litres of boot space. And it's
That's about 5 kids in the back.
Yeah, you can bang out some more kids.
Sam's the man.
And smash them out. And Sam, I can imagine him at home like this, just no more bloody children. So that's 2,000 litres of boot space. And again, the Santa Fe from sort of 2040, 8-year-old Santa Fe is going to be about the same price as this guy.
Yeah.
So
not bad.
I don't think you should write either of those off. So there you go. Good luck with that. Alison in Glasgow, 2006 Honda Jazz. She's moved into a street with parking on the street only, so I assume it's terraced. She's going to have to use she hasn't got a driveway. Can she get parking sensors retrofitted to her car? Simon, any thoughts?
Yes, you can. You can get the ones that attach to the mirror, and then you put all the sensors in. So when you then look in the mirror, rear view mirror, you can actually see part of it is a camera. So you can get the sensors, the ones that just do the beeping, but you can also get the ones that got the cameras in there as well. And they're not that expensive.
I know if you want a mechanic to fit this, you're looking about a couple of £100. They will fit the sound ones to your rear bumper, and the way that they do it now, they can match the paintwork. So there will be on that bumper of that car, whether she knows it or not, there are going to be little holes which were set up for that Honda Jazz to have. So the template's already there. So the mechanic uses the existing holes that are there, puts it's a patent part, it's a non-patent part, what do I mean? Yes, basically it's a non-Honda part in. Yeah. And then I think take the power off the reverse light, and then it will be an audio sensor that will go beep, 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 beep. So as you get closer and closer to the object. Whereas I've got a standard on both of mine. I've actually got a visual as well as but the sound ones are fine. So yes, you can do that, and I would advise you to do that.
And remember, when it's a continuous tone, you've hit something.
Yes, that'll be the small child.
Probably one of Sam the Man's one.
Well, he's got a lot to go around. He's had 5. We've got him on 5 now with his 7-seater Santa Fe.
Daisy from Detroit. Daisy, I don't know, Daisy Jukes says, hello, Car-Boyz from Motor City. He, it should be she family.
Trans Highway we were talking about earlier on. 21st
see,
century, Simon.
Her family. Yes, I know. Her family have all worked in the car industry, and she's a self-confessed petrol head, and she's looking for an affordable classic for weekend runabout.
Yes.
What do you reckon for about a 1939 Chrysler Royal? Her friend's father just passed away, and they're trying to sell it from the estate. Not the estate vehicle that Sam the Man has.
No.
But
the council estate, where Sam's probably going to end up living with all those children.
87,000 miles on the clock, fully serviced. Older restoration, $14,000. What do you boys reckon? I don't know this car. I don't know the price.
Well, no, this was new to me, so I had to go and look it up on the Tinterweb. That is a picture of it. This is not a
gangster car.
Yeah, it is very gangster. You could ride on the proper running boards and everything there.
Yeah.
So this car was produced between 37 and 39 in the States. It's a Chrysler. It's not a commuter. It's not a beta car. But the good thing about this is it is very, very, very solid. It's incredibly reliable. Flat head engine. So even if the timing chain goes, it doesn't destroy the engine. Solid family built car. It's a family car. This would have been your Ford Sierra of the 1930s. A very nice car. But sort of a doctor would have one, and then a lot of these were turned into hot rods in the 50s after the war. But a very solid car. The only thing is, now I'm going to be. I hope she's a petrol head and knows how to do a stick shift, because this thing's this thing is 3 on the tree, and we drove 3 on the tree. Yes. We drove 4 on the tree in Berlin.
Although 3 only worked.
Only 3 worked. So eventually, yes, 3. It's a 3 on the tree, so you've got to be used to driving that. But apart from that, it is a nice looking car. It's a very solid looking car. But go and have a drive of it. I mean, I've seen people driving this on videos, driving it like this. It's like, do you remember the Anthill mob from Wacky Races? They drove the car like this. In fact, I had a Fiat Panda that I used to drive like this. You could do this, and the wheels would just stay track straight.
Wow.
Not as nice as this. I think that's a beautiful looking car.
I do like that.
And all of this is very, very solid. Fantastic for the weekend. And then, of course, she's doing the good thing of looking at a hard top as well. Because what's the point of having a soft top in Detroit where it snows and rains most of the time? Finally, one final one. Stephen in Exeter, Devon, I believe, says, hello, Car-Boyz. I have an issue with my Ford Escort Mark V, so that's the last Ford Escort. There is a rattling coming from the engine. What do you think it could be? It has started to sound like a tractor.
Depends what engine. If it's one of the smaller engines like the 1.3, possibly the tappets. The tappets made a lot of chattering noise.
Yes,
which made it sound like a diesel. So it could be that, possibly.
I'll check the oil first, because my Mark IV used to do this as it slowly ran out of oil. It would start sounding like a tractor. It did. My Mark IV was an XR3i, and it went through oil like you wouldn't believe. So that it could be the case the engine is on its last legs, and you're just going to have to chuck more oil at it. It could be something serious, though. I think we may want a mechanic to look at this ASAP, because it is an old car. What are we looking at? It's a 25-year-old car, isn't it?
At least, I would have thought. Yeah. But it depends which one. You should give if you're writing into us, give us a bit more information.
Yeah. The other thing, if it's a diesel, judgment. They're supposed to sound like that. It could be a diesel, couldn't it? We didn't think about that.
The diesel in those Escorts were the old Peugeot Citroen diesels.
Yeah, so it'll be you'll be sat.
They
You'll
did
be
sound
sat.
like tractors.
Yeah, you'll be sat at the junction thinking, is there a bus behind me? Oh no, it's the sound of my car. Is it competition time?
It is competition time. Big quiz. Thank you. Of course, it's this week's quiz. We take a little nod at the game show, the Wheel of Fortune, which in the UK was presented by ex-Radio 1 DJ Nicky Campbell and Carol Smiley, and then replaced by John Leslie.
Yeah.
Less said about that, the
Whatever
better.
happened to John Leslie?
Yeah, whatever happened. Answers on the postcards. But we don't have the budget for a big spinning wheel. We only have pictures of alloy wheels. Do you see what we've done there? It's about alloy wheels. So our unlucky contestant this week has to guess what car they belong to. Our contestant has travelled in all the way from his living room. It is he's managed to get to our Car-Boyz studio in Southwest London. It is Richard from Southwest London.
Hello. Hello.
Feeling confident?
Oh, I am. I do like a good alloy wheel.
So we have got some classic alloy wheels here. In order to win the prize of this week, which is a crate of bloke, which I see you've gone on to water at the moment.
Yeah, we've lost bloke. We're on to the water of the Lord. Yes.
We need to think of a slogan for water. And a subscription to the lockdown videos of Car-Boyz and a dose of Cortina 19. All you have to do is tell me what cars these wheels belong to. And for simplicity, we've avoided aftermarket wheels. And the ones that are available are multiple models. So are you ready?
I am. I thought for water we could call it duh and make it sound French and posh. Duh. Duh. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? C'est de l'eau.
Sacre bleu.
So
first one I'm going to show you, and then if you want, I can give you a clue as well. What wheel does this belong to?
Oh.
Classic car. Would you like a clue?
Yes, please.
So this is from a rear-engine car that is still around today.
Oh. This looks like a VW Beetle. No.
Ooh, almost.
The van?
Rear engine? I'm going to put you out your movie.
Oh, no, so it's a 911. Oh.
It is a 911. I'll give you half a point for that.
Thank you. We were the Porsche Beetle look the same. Yes, sorry.
Same man as ours. And just to prove it, here is a picture of it on the Porsche.
Very nice. It's a 1970s one, I'm guessing.
Indeed so. Okay, number two. So we'll get there. Number two, this one. What car does this belong to?
Ooh.
Would you like a clue?
Is it a Volvo?
It's not a Volvo. Would you like a clue?
I'd like a clue.
This car manufacturer ended up being hated by Margaret Thatcher. I'll give you another clue. It's silver. It's got some cables on the side there. You see? Cables.
Cables. Margaret Thatcher. I'm losing. No.
Thatcher. Think of the Thatcher link.
Margaret Thatcher. Rover.
Think Ireland. The thing that Belfast is famous for.
So what's it? It's a DMC. It's a DeLorean.
Let's have a look. It is the right answer.
Fantastic.
There you go.
I've obviously done far too much cocaine in my life to realise. Fantastic. A DeLorean, of course. DMC.
And there's the wheel.
Yes.
I actually, on some of them, I did Photoshop the names out of them, but it does say DMC on those.
Oh, it's my
there you go.
terrible eyesight.
Another point. Slightly harder, this one. What does this belong to? It's a newer car. Italian.
Oh, it's an Alfa Romeo.
It is an Alfa Romeo. Do you know which type?
Oh, Juliet.
My clue was it could be a class number.
Class number.
A school class number.
What, like 4B or something?
Oh, almost.
8C. 5F.
I'll give you that. It's the Alpha 4C.
Oh. I did recognise it was the
4B.
Alpha, though. At least I
4B
saw
was
that.
close there. And let's have a look. That's what it came from.
Oh, that's nice. Now, that's the one you can't get to the engine,
Beautiful.
isn't it?
Yes.
Brilliant.
But there
What a
you go.
brilliant design.
There's the Buzz Alpha.
Yes.
Right. So well done. So next one. This is a classic one. What car does this belong to?
Oh.
Upside down.
Oh. Okay. Can I have a clue?
Okay. This big iconic off-roader is loved by the royal family.
Oh, it's got to be a Land Rover Defender.
Ooh, slightly bigger.
Land
Slightly.
Rover.
It's range.
Range Rover. Range Rover. Really?
It,
Range Rover.
it is a
Oh,
Range Rover.
good.
There
Oh,
you
it's a
go.
70s one. I was trying to work out. I was trying to.
Yes.
Where the heck did they last have wheels like that? That's the one Callum used to drive, wasn't it? Edward Woodward had one of those.
Do you like Edward Woodward? Yes,
Edward
there you
Woodward.
go. That is from
Just
the
a
Range Rover.
little advice. If you are into Edward Woodward, Forces TV are showing old episodes of The Equalizer, which I watched last night.
Ah, fantastic.
was great.
I do love the Equalizer. With the music done by Stuart Copeland.
Stuart Copeland, yes. I only watched the intro. I went, this is crap, and turned it over. But the intro was good. It took me back to happier days.
Intro was great. That built up suspense. I did like the intro.
Yes.
Okay, question number 6.
Okay.
What car does these belong to? From the late 90s. What does this belong to?
Rover? Sterling?
Not quite. Would you like a clue?
Clue, please, yeah.
This car is the spiritual successor to the XJS. So it's the car that replaced the XJS.
Hang on. I'm going. So it's a Jaguar.
It is a Jaguar. Coupe.
Yeah.
Also convertible, like the XJS.
I have. My mind's gone blank. Go on.
Oh, should I put you out of your misery?
Go on.
The XK8.
I knew what it looked like.
No
I just couldn't think of the lettering on the end. But anyway.
But there you go. That's the world's smallest picture of an XK8 with those wheels. Right. So, question number 7. Number 6. What car do these wheels belong to? Actually, let me give you the actual thing.
Is it a BMW?
How did you get that?
I don't know. I think it would be a BMW.
Let's have a look.
Hey!
Yes, the BMW M3, the E36 for the Animex out there.
I know it.
Okay, next one, number 7. What car does these wheels belong to? Classic wheels.
Rostar Mini?
Yes, I'll give you that. Yeah, in all the 1960s minis, those are the wheels.
Or the Frog-Eyed Sprite
wheels.
Oh, Mini Light. Sorry,
yes.
Mini Light. Yeah.
Yeah, Mini Light wheels. So well done. Let's see a picture of the Mini that's got that on.
Very cool.
Well done. Okay, slightly...
13-inch or maybe even smaller.
12 possibly.
12-inch. Good grief.
Who'd have thought? This one is from the late 70s, early 80s. What car is this from? Can you remember?
Can I have
UK car.
Can I have a clue, please, Bob?
Okay, Del Boy Trotter had one of these, and it was nicknamed the Pratmobile by Rodney.
Is this are we in the realms of Ford?
It is. It is a Ford.
Is this a Ford Capri, perhaps?
It is a Ford Capri. Let's see which one. It's the Capri Gear. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Right.
The Capri Gear. Very good. Excellent.
Question number 9. I don't know, for some reason there's 11 in these. I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
What wheels did this belong to? Which car?
Oh,
I photoshopped the badges out of them.
Oh,
would you like?
Right.
Would you like a clue?
A clue, please? Yeah.
It's an 80s British hatchback that was a rival to the Escort XR3i.
Vauxhall.
It is a Vauxhall.
Astra.
It is an Astra. Do you know the model number?
Yeah, GT GTB? I?
Nearly GTE. Yeah, absolutely.
GTE!
There you go.
My friend had one of
There you
those,
go.
and he couldn't kill it. And he got really bored of it. And every time we took him for service, it was when Vauxhall were making really strong cars.
Yes. They're good cars. I do like those ones.
Very nice
the
cars.
GTs. Okay, so would you like number 10? Number 10, what do these belong
Please. Oh, my goodness. Righty-ho. Look like they need refurbishing. Well, can I have a clue, please, Bob?
Yes, this 80s British hatchback was the rival to the Astra GTE.
Oh, hang on. Is this an MG?
No, I gave you the answer in the last clue.
Oh, it's an excellent. Didn't they off the Escort?
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I had the RS wheels, so let's have
Escort XR.
Oh, wow.
Well done.
No, I had better wheels than that. Mine were much better than that on mine. Oh, I did. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely right. There you go. And the last one.
Is my bendy bully safe? That's what I want to know.
Your bendy bully safe and your bus fare home. You've secured your bus fare home.
Excellent.
And your bendy bully. So for the last one, which we always like to do, always end on a high.
Yes.
What car does these wheels belong to?
Oh, okay. This is a classic. This is a VW Polo. Okay, the P. Golf. GTI. Golf GTI.
Let's see if you're right. Yes, Golf GTI.
I was just trying. I just saw I know I'd seen the wheels somewhere before.
But I didn't know this. I photoshopped them out. But they said Pirelli on the side, so I'm assuming they had some connection to Pirelli, like the P.
There was a sponsorship deal or something going on.
Yeah.
Wow, how very interesting.
There you go. So you can win all the prizes. You win the creative bloke.
Creative bloke.
14 and 19.
A bottle of where is it? Delors. Hang on, let me get Delors right.
The back catalogue of the video versions of Car-Boyz.
Yay! And Delors. Ouvre la boîte. Awaken the taste.
Le bloc. Awaken the bloc.
Right, that's about it from the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. We won't be back next week because I am going on holiday. I don't think I've told you this.
Woohoo!
I'm going all the way down to Cornwall.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? Yeah, Car-Boyz, we're all going down to Cornwall. I'm taking you in the boot of the car. Actually, I'm not going to fit you in the boot. The boot is so packed, so you're going to have to go on the roof. It's all right.
I'll have to go with Sam the man from Manchester.
Yeah, he's got that giant car. He's got that, what is it? He's got that, Hyundai Santa Fe. It's fine. He can fit you in the back as long as he doesn't have any more kids or he'll end up living on the council estate. That's about it from the show. We will return soon, we promise. Probably not next week, maybe the week after. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you have a good week and stay safe out there, kids.
Send us your pictures.
Send us your pictures.